Before Harriet Tubman was born, the slaves felt very sad, depressed, and lonely with all the work they had to do. They all felt that way until Harriet Tubman became a slave. But the slaves started feeling a little better when they heard about the Underground Railroad, and some slaves escaped to freedom.
Harriet Tubman, also known as Moses by the slaves, had no education and led about 300 slaves to freedom. She also became the leader of the abolitionist movement. When Harriet was young, she was severely injured by a heavy iron brick caused by a slave driver, aiming for a runaway slave, but missed and hit Harriet's head instead, leaving Harriet to have seizures for the rest of her life. Harriet was married to a free man named John Tubman. She escaped slavery in 1849.
Harriet Tubman was known as the Underground Railroad conductor. She made 13 trips to the north without getting caught. She also took as many slaves as she could, but if she couldn't, she would tell them to follow the Northern Star. She even rescued her 70-year-old parents.
While escaping to freedom, slaves hid in places like church pews, benches, even in people's cabinets, and forests as well, to keep other people from noticing that slaves were escaping to freedom. Harriet Tubman helped many slaves escape to freedom because she thought it was unjust to have humans working for other humans based on a different skin color. She risked her life on bringing slaves to freedom many times. Harriet Tubman had a dream that one day she would build a house for the less fortunate, disabled, and elderly people. Harriet Tubman achieved her dream by buying 25 acres of land.
Once again, Harriet Tubman helps the Civil War to fight for freedom as a spy, nurse, and a cook. She was a remarkable nurse because her medicines cured her patients quickly.
The next morning I was on deck as soon as the day dawned. We watched the reddening sky and saw the great orb come up out of the water, as it seemed. Soon the waves began to sparkle, and everything caught the beautiful glow. Before us lay the city of strangers. We had escaped from slavery, but we were alone in the world.
The Underground Railroad reminds me of children in Pakistan in child labor or slavery. Kids are trying to escape from their harsh environment. Children work long, hard hours.
They were bought from their parents and family for a cheap price. They were also not allowed to talk to another worker in the factory, or even look at the person in the eye. The children were also not allowed to hold meetings. If so, they would get beaten for it, just like what the slaves would get. In the end, they are just like slaves, fighting for freedom as well.
I freed thousands of slaves, and I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves.